Wednesday edition. Merely Bo, the Great Z. I think it's still sunny out there.
Hello?
It was coming in, but I can't see.
Now we can't see. We're blocked.
The Great Wall of Berea is here.
We're blocked from the outside world. It's very sad. You hate to see it.
I talked to my guys downstairs, and the consensus was 2 or 3 more weeks.
Before we're allowed to see out?
Yeah. And then they're coming for us. We're going to be moved.
Yeah, they're coming for us. That's right.
Does Gibby have his best man on it? Does he have a plan?
I don't know. I've got my best man on it. Yeah. Phenomenal stuff.
Is that working? Is that what he's got going on?
We don't know what he's got going on.
He's been out of the mix.
He's out. Yeah, he's down in Florida.
Again.
He's going to come back. I think today's a travel day for Gibby, and then he'll be back with us tomorrow. By the way, I'm having a lot of problems over here. If you know, I don't know if this isn't working.
What do
if
you
the
got going on?
adapter's not working. Something's not working anymore.
You have no audio in your ears?
No. That's why if you notice, last 2 days I've been really like futzing around with it.
My gut feeling is
Yeah.
that it's the headphone situation.
That's the headphones themselves?
I think the headphones themselves are the culprit.
Why do you say that? What leads you to that conclusion?
Just the way that you went into that hole,
Yeah.
it wasn't as firm as I would have liked.
Well, that's because I have to keep it out here to here. If I go all the way in, a firm entry, no here.
You have to have a firm entry. Here, pop that sucker in
Hold
there.
on, we got to do multiple things here because
I want you to put this in.
We have to see if it's this or this. There's 3 things we're isolating.
Okay.
So let's start with just that. Yeah.
Just try that. Okay. See what that does for you. Let's get to it. See if that's it. So the backup headset is going in. Where are we at? And that's an iPod.
Completely silent.
That's silent. Okay.
So
now take the other part. Give me the other part. Now put that guy on there. This snaps right in. So that's the problem.
There we go.
This guy right here.
That guy right there. Yeah.
That's the upper. So now I'll need that guy back.
Yeah. Well, we got another. Do we have another one of these guys in there?
Probably not. The last time that I ran into that, I forgot my headphones at home, and I said, oh, no, I forgot them at home. And Gibby goes, I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. And I thought, we don't have any headsets around here?
Yeah, how do we
running around?
How do we not have a ton of things like lying around?
Yeah. So that's your culprit. Now you're smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Now you're good. Non-headset. It was the in-between guy.
No, I don't even know what's going on.
Are you okay now?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Or do you need this?
Who knows? I don't know. It
might be
this,
that.
Though. Let's try.
Go back to that. See if get back to there. Go to my whole setup and see what that does for you.
Your whole setup. I love it.
That's the backup headset right there.
I got nothing again. I think it may be this.
Oh wow! So maybe.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Hello.
You're on. Yeah.
Hello.
You're up. You're up.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay. All right.
All right. What a mess.
What a mess. All right. Fine.
Unmitigated disaster.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing.
Not a dang thing.
Absolutely nothing. Did you? We have a new coach in Indy. Did you see that?
I did see that.
How are we going to go on name pronunciation? Do we have one?
I heard them say
it's different than I've been saying for sure.
What have you been saying?
Steichen.
Yeah, and they were saying on the thing, like on the Super Bowl, it was
Steichen.
Steichen. I think we got a Steichen in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have that.
By the way, I mean, have you seen?
So he's the head coach in Indy.
He's the head coach in Indy. So waiting on Arizona.
Yeah.
Do they go Gannon? Do they not go Gannon? We'll see what happens there. But my favorite thing that's happened today is Irsay apparently is running amok at this press. Are they having a press conference today about this?
I don't know. Is that happening? It might happen in transit for me. I haven't seen anything.
All right, I gotta search.
They're having a presser over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it a real presser, or is this? Do you think someone's like at this point he could say anything, and it could either be something he actually said or made up, and they both would feel true?
Yeah. Let's see.
I didn't see anything this morning.
So Jeff Saturday has said his goodbyes. This was just something just came right over. Oh, here we go. Colts owner Jim Irsay openly says they are going to look for a young quarterback to develop this offseason. Colts pick at number 4 league-wide expectations are going to target one. He's letting it all out, not hiding anything. That Alabama guy doesn't look bad, I'll tell you.
Really?
Yeah. And they said Chris Ballard is trying to take the mic away from him.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Well, the price for the Bears, as we used to say with in the game of Monopoly, when you landed when you landed on one of the big boys, the price of Monopoly just went up.
Ari Mirov says, if and when the Colts call the Bears about number one, Chicago quite literally just needs to show them this. We know your owner loves him. Pay up. That Alabama guy doesn't look bad.
That's it. So if you're Chicago, you just say, well, we know that's it, you know. And I guess if you're Houston, too, this helps the Bears with Houston. If Houston wants to for sure get Bryce Young, then come get him.
So this is all from this press conference, and this is from Rappaport. Irsay starts off saying, we wanted an offensive coach knowing we're going to have to find a young quarterback to develop, then follows that up with that Alabama guy doesn't look bad. Steichen, we're going to throw to score points and run to win. This is great. That's all you want to see. That's what you want. That's all you want. See?
Ownership running amok.
Irsay, he's just great.
I love it.
Unless this is an all-time, maybe it's an all-time swerve. Maybe they have no interest in Bryce Young at all.
Maybe they're just trying to drive up the price for somebody who does.
Right.
Maybe they want C.J.
Maybe
Stroud
he's
the whole way.
chess, not checkers. I've been playing a lot of chess lately, enjoying the game very thoroughly.
Track record would suggest otherwise.
But that's why that's why it would be so successful.
Yeah.
There's no evidence to promote that he's capable of such deceit.
No, there isn't. Not in any way, shape, or form.
Sad about the Jeff Saturday era, though.
It worked.
Of course it worked.
Did everything that we said it would do when upon hiring what we knew that what it was. It was the perfect beard.
And they even lost to the Texans when they needed to.
No, they lost. You're right. They lost to the Texans.
Yeah.
They did everything that they needed to do to make sure that they're either going to trade up to one or they're going to get the second quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, they blew a 38,000-point lead at the half against the Vikings. I mean, they pulled off some remarkable feats.
Yeah, and so now they're in position to get either the first or the second quarterback off the board.
Yeah. Jeff Saturday says it was an absolute blessing to be the Colts interim coach, and I looked fondly upon it.
There you go.
Okay.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Yep. So that's the way that thing's going to go.
By the way, just curious
Sure.
on your take on this. Should we be worried about the air quality in our neck of the woods here?
You're talking about what happened in East Palestine?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's only like an hour away.
I do.
Right?
Yeah, it's on
no,
the border.
The good news
is
that
there is no. I mean, we have a lot of fan. There is nothing
good
light about that circumstance.
No, it sounds
in
insane.
Any way. And it's interesting. I've seen a lot of people say, "Well, I'm not seeing it being covered." Like, I feel like I see it covered all the time. I just don't know if anyone is giving it the severity that it deserves in the coverage. But you do see it covered. Like if wherever, I don't know where you're getting your news, but it's on constantly. There's updates.
But it doesn't feel like they're letting me know exactly.
I don't think it's possible they maybe don't want to.
What's happening?
Yeah. I mean, it is a catastrophic situation in regard to chemical malfeasance.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. It's really, really bad. I mean, they evacuated the town and everything. I mean, it's
animals and fish are dying within a 10-mile radius. Like it sounds like really, really bad.
It is. Yeah. I think that's a fact of it. That it is really, really bad. And I can't imagine being the people over there. And you wake up one morning and everything's normal, and then the next day it's not, and you don't know if it'll ever be normal again. And no easy way to make it right.
No.
There's some science, some engineer yesterday, and I'd be careful here because a lot of this stuff I know nothing about.
I know nothing about it.
But about the specific chemical and how it adheres to, it attaches itself to any water particles and spreads that way. So even if you burn it, even if you whatever, it jumps on mist, on dew, on rain, and away it goes. And then you got the Ohio River to worry about as well. That's involved because it goes right through there. So there's a lot going on over there, man. Pretty brutal, to say the least.
Yeah. Like one of the like a woman 10 miles from East Palestine woke up and all of her chickens were dead.
Yeah.
Like, this is craziness.
Yeah. It's not far from here.
No.
And no, Ohioans affected in a very big way. I feel like maybe there more should be being done, but
well, that's what kind of
I'm not exactly sure what the more is. So I don't want to just be outrage guy and say do more. What is more? How do you do more?
I don't know. It feels to me like this is something that you would see in like Last of Us that is happening in real life.
Oh, you mean like 4 things being shot out of the sky?
There's a lot.
There's a lot going on right now, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good either.
None of it's great.
No.
No. There's There's a lot going on.
How was Disney?
It was wonderful.
On a lighter note.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Spectacular. Awesome.
Isn't it great?
I thought it would be I had very low expectations for it for fear of the things that I would dislike about it, namely crowds and such. But the reality was anything but. It was an incredible, nostalgic, inspiring 4 days. And to see it through the eyes of my kids was something I will never forget. Now, I'll never go back. I don't need to. I'm good. Did it. So I don't really need to do it again.
Back.
I don't know. The things that they're talking about adding there are things that wouldn't, like the next thing they're going to do, they're doing a Moana thing I think it's at Epcot. They're adding a big Moana ride. Like that wouldn't be something that the boys would be interested in. It feels like they're kind of, right now from a Disney perspective, it's kind of apex boys. It's probably the best it's ever been to be a boy at Disney.
Yeah.
With Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Avatar.
Yeah.
So all of those are in the last 5 years. Before then, there was really nothing, hardly anything for boys. So they got those things in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but all of that came in recently. So it was, from that standpoint, it was exceptional. So I don't know that they would need, I mean, they built lightsabers. Like what more do you need? There was a moment in the lightsaber build that there was a couple of things jumped out. So in the lightsaber build, my wife thought that she had, did I tell this story? My wife thought that
we haven't talked Disney yet.
Okay. My wife thought, so you had this one, everything there, if you've been, like you have to do everything 60 days out. Okay. So you would have to, make your reservation 60 days out, and it's like 60 days out to the second. Like at 7 a.m., you have to do it.
Yep.
And then you got to lock it in for whatever it is. Dinner reservations,
yep.
Meeting any character, meeting anything. It's not like anything else. If you've never been, it's not like anything else. You can't just call up and go, I want to do this on this date at this time. No. The demand is such that this is their process. And they get away with it because everyone, I mean, we were there on a random Wednesday in February, and it was slammed. So, like, there are no off days. I bought Disney stock after day one going, this feels recession-proof, this operation.
Yeah.
So we were she booked this thing for the lightsaber build, and it was a price that seemed steep to me that was put down. So we're in the line for the lightsaber build, and it's our time. She had set up this time, 60 days out, locked it in, 5:25 or whatever it was on Saturday to do it. And we get in to do it, and they go, and that'll be X amount for 3 lightsabers to be built. And my wife went, what? I thought I already did this. I thought I've already paid. And they're like, no, that was the deposit, ma'am.
That was just to hold the spot.
To hold the spot. To which point she was like, that's not, and I said the same thing, but I'm like, what are we going to do now?
No.
We're already into it. Like
nothing isn't nuts in Disney.
But this was even beyond.
It was egregious.
It was exorbitant, right? For what you would.
Was it $100 a saber? More?
It doesn't matter. So we pay it, and then the girl who's working there, remember, everybody in Disney they're all in character all the time. So we get over there, and we're standing in line to now it's time to go pick our sabers. And she goes, or the boys to pick theirs.
Are these the ones that go like zzz, where it really lights up? It's not like the plastic tubes.
No,
it's like,
no.
This is, yeah.
All right. So anyway.
I love it.
So we come to do that, and she goes, well, that was a nice moment, which I thought was comedy. Wait, this is how much? And the girl kind of broke character. She goes, well, that was a nice moment, which I thought was really funny. So then it comes time to go build them, and knowing what the cost is, I spring into motion, and I'm like, we've got it. We're built. You're doing this once. This has got to be iconic builds. So you have 4 different hilts that you can choose from, and among those 4 hilts, there are 2 different options per style. Okay, so there's a total of 8 different handles you can build, and then there's a total of 4 different colors: green, blue, red, and purple. Those are the 4 colors you can choose from.
Because if you want to do a Luke or a Mace Windu or a Jedi Luke or an Obi-Wan.
Whatever you want to do. And then
Kylo
Vader
Ren,
or Kylo.
obviously.
You can't do Kylo because you can't do the 3 thing. But so anyway, so I spring into action. I'm like, boys, we got to go blue bloods on the sabers.
It's got to be classic.
It's got to be classic. This has got to be timeless. It's got to be classic. Because initially they're like, I'm doing purple. No one's done purple. I'm like, no, you don't want to do.
You don't want that.
You don't want to do Mace Windu. You don't want to do that. So I grab NBC and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, green Luke. Do green Luke. Do green Luke or blue Obi-Wan, because I knew Beamsy would want to do Vader. He loves
That's what you
Vader.
need.
He
You
loves
need a red, blue, and
Kylo.
green.
I
Perfect.
said, perfect. You got to do that. I go over to Bootsy. He won't even let me look at the card. No. And I go, dude, no, let Daddy help you. Like, you want to do a blue blood here. We got to do one that's known,
classic,
that's a fact,
iconic.
that you're going to have this forever. You're going to put it on a wall and
Yeah.
whatever. Like, let's do this right. And he goes, he won't even let me look at it. No, I'm doing this. And I'm like, because they were 3 different categories. One was like peace and justice. There were 4 different types, right?
Okay.
Whatever. One meant Jedi. One meant bad guy, Sith. One meant like new school good guy. Like it was
Okay.
like a Ray type one.
Yeah.
And then there's another one was like the Mace Windu one. So I'm like, if you're going to do purple, like he was so hung up on purple, I'm like, that's fine. You want to do Mace Windu, that's fine. He's literally in one movie, a couple of movies, and it's honestly the ones that suck the most. But that's fine. You want to do that? But this has got to be the handle. And he's like, I don't want to do that. I want this handle. And I'm like, you're blowing it, man. You're blowing it. You're blowing the whole operation here. Don't you understand? So he wouldn't even let me near him or whatever. And I was getting, and Amy's like, you're ruining everything.
To
So-
you?
Yeah, because I was like
'Cause you
trying
were
to
getting mad.
interject,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
upsetting me. Like he was going to blow this whole operation. So only 6 people can go into this place to build them, and I've shown you the video. So you get the builder and 1 chaperone. That's it. Builder and chaperone.
Okay.
So 3 people built, 3 people chaperone.
Yep. Mhm.
So I go with NBC. My wife goes with Beamsy. Mother-in-law goes with Bootsy because he won't take any guidance. So we've got a lock stock Luke Jedi green
Perfect.
that's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
The thing is unbelievable.
It's perfect.
We've got a lock stock Sith Vader, kind of Vader, or it's definitely a Sith saber because they didn't have the exact Vader handle, but it's
That's odd.
I thought, yeah, there was a couple of things that were just a little different from the exact Vader handle.
Okay.
And then we've got a Sith handle with a purple saber from Bootsy. I said, you blew it. So then I felt bad. So then the brothers were like going, what are you doing? And then he felt bad. And it's like, oh, the whole thing went to hell. The whole thing went to hell.
He marches to the beat of his own drum. You know that. You know that, the bull.
Well, especially
Like,
there
once
were
you-
so many options for him to get out from under my yoke
oh, yeah.
with mother-in-law, father-in-law, wife. There were so many ways for him to, anytime he met my resistance, to bounce to other people who would enable.
Oh,
that
yeah.
There was no stopping him at this point.
It was
There
4
no
on
stopping.
1.
I did get one piece of revenge. We have Brooke Pryor coming up at the bottom of the hour. So here's what we'll do. We're going to hit Brooke, and then we'll do
Then
gonna
we'll do the
do the
Steelers
thing. Yeah.
after.
So one other thing I will tell you. So he had sabers. He got stuffies. His favorite thing in the world is stuffed animals. So he got Stuffy from Avatar, Stuffy from some unicorn thing.
Stuffy. I like
Loves them. They're all named. He got all sorts of stuff at parks, shirts, nonsense, all this stuff. So the last day we're at Disney Springs. We're just biding time for the plane.
Did he get into the boathouse?
Could not get in.
No, it's tough.
not
It's
yet.
tough. It's
And we had a tight window too
Did he-
because with the flight, there just wasn't a lot of time.
Did you guys
so-
hit up the Christmas store? Oh, baby.
So
Yes.
we in Disney Springs
Which
is
is
the
a wall.
largest Disney store I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's as big as like this whole floor, I think. I mean, maybe I don't know. It felt like the size of
It
like
has
a-
everything.
yeah. So the 2 things that matter most to him are Stuffies and Funko Pops. Like this is all he
Oh,
wants.
Funko Pop heaven there.
Is both. So as we walk in, I say he gets nothing here. He's gotten enough. It's enough. He's got nothing. As soon as we walk in, I can see his face drop because he realizes he can't have anything. He hears me say it to my wife, face drop. And the panic is starting to set in. The tears, he's kind of borderline crying the whole time. We come around a corner, and there is a wall. You've seen it. I think it's probably I don't think I'm overestimating saying it feels like it's 30 yards long, and it's every stuffed animal that Disney has.
Makes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them.
Mhm.
And he just goes, and he just starts, tears just start going like this. And then we come around the next corner,
The Funko Pop.
all the Funko Pops, and he goes, oh, come on. And he just starts almost to his knees, bawling in the store, bawling.
And he's come out, though, in the 4 days, how many stuffed animals and Funko?
3 stuffed animals, Funkos, Jedi sabers, shirts,
He's crushed
weaponry.
it. Yeah.
He's crushed it. I had to get another bag just to get his junk home, like so much. More
And what
so
about
than
the
the
other
others.
kids?
far less, because I'll say like, "What are you really going to wear this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
You know you're not going to wear this." And then I'll make it right for you another time. We'll figure out something you like. It's fine. They all got the Sabres, but he goes, "Oh, come on!" He just was bawling. He got nothing. I had to drag him out, but he got nothing. It was unbelievable. Like, it was almost like I was laughing so hard when he came around the corner and saw the Funko Pops. It's amazing.
So
He couldn't even stand.
when I go with my kids, like now, and they're significantly older.
Yes, they're not looking for all this.
They're not
business.
looking for everything.
Right.
So I said, obviously the treat is that we're here.
Correct. That's right.
I'm going to feed you and all that. And I said, and they have, through their bar
Yes.
mitzvahs, they have their own money should they
Yeah.
want to spend anything. But I always tell them, you get $100 each
Yeah.
to buy whatever you want in any of these stores.
Love it.
But over that is
Best
you.
of luck. Yep.
Yeah. And so that way and then they'll be like, well, they really like something that's like 40, and they're like, yeah, but like I don't want to.
Doing the math on it.
Yeah, they're doing the math. They're figuring it out. Obviously, they're way too young for that type of stuff. But Bootsy's he's so formidable. Was he able to rally support in this store for him? Like, I bet the workers are like, oh, little boy, don't cry. And I bet the in-laws
He's
were
walking
all over
around
him.
in the Pluto hat,
Of course he is.
bawling.
It's the happiest place on earth.
It's the happiest place on earth. Why can I not get one more of these things? That was it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
What was your wife's reaction to his antics?
No patience for it.
Oh, so she was like,
this is
no.
She felt bad. that
So
he
nobody was
crying,
advocating for
No,
him.
no. It was well
It was-
documented. You're done. That's the list.
done.
We're packed. It all fit in suitcases. We're going home.
Yeah. You've
won. bigger than you
thrived
could
on a
win.
level that you can't
Few
even comprehend.
people in the world thrive the way that you thrived the last
right.
4 days.
Yeah, that's right.
We're done. And
That's it.
instead, it almost broke him. I was dying. It's as hard as I've ever laughed when he saw the Funko Pops, and was just couldn't even believe it. Like, all of this,
There's probably
I
like
could
a
have all
gold,
of
a
this.
gold light on it, like, oh.
he just, come on, like it was guttural.
Yeah, like,
it was
come
amazing.
on, Dad.
Just come on, amazing.
Bootsy.
Best, I think, I would go Rise of the Resistance 1, Avatar 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Those would be the top three rides experiences.
So I haven't done Guardians. That was after
You would love
my
it.
trip. I'm sure I would love
It's
it.
awesome.
Did you do the rock and roller coaster?
Yeah.
I think that's solid.
Very solid.
Underrated.
Yeah. I thought the Hollywood Hotel was great.
Yeah.
The Slinky Dog thing in Toy Story was great. The Slinky roller
The
coaster
Slinky
was
coaster
fun.
for the kids. Yeah, it's not
That was
bad.
fun.
That's
That
not
was
bad.
good. Yeah.
Everest is great. I'm a big Everest guy. I love Everest.
Everest was great. Yeah, that was great.
When you go backwards.
Yeah.
Big
It's
fan.
just like when you compare anything from a roller coaster standpoint to Cedar Point, it's just
No,
you can't.
they can't do that.
So it's all the experiences that
Right,
you
it's
have to do.
experience, yeah.
And that's why those were the three. The Resistance, the Avatar, and then Guardians were.
By the way, Thunder Mountain, solid.
Thunder Mountain's great. So is the the Seven Dwarfs ride,
That's
the
a
mine
very
ride.
good kid one. Very smooth.
It's very smooth, and I thought it was cool how they mixed the story in halfway. Hi ho, off
yeah,
the
yeah.
dork we go, like all of that. I thought that was great. That's good.
Did you guys do the safari?
No, we did not. We did not do the
Ah.
safari. That was we did not do that. We didn't have time for that. We got in. We did the Animal Kingdom like
The first
halfway
day.
through. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we missed it. But it was good. It was good. One and done. That's a wrap. It's a wrap, brother. All right, so we'll have Brooke Pryor joining us here momentarily.
Bootsy must hate the real world right now. He must be like, why am I not at Disney?
His whole life, he walks on rainbows. He doesn't even know reality.
No, he has no idea.
He has
Land of
no
milk
idea.
and honey.
Yeah, he
Good
doesn't
for
have any
him.
idea. Yeah, it is. It's a great way to go.
Great for him.
Great way to go about life.
I'd like to be Bootsy.
Few wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, it works out well for him. In terms of dates to pay attention to now that we're through the Super Bowl, we have the NFL Scouting Combine. We will be there. That starts the last day of February, goes through the 6th of March. The end of the league year and free agency, that begins on March 15th. That's at 4 o'clock. And then the NFL Draft is in Kansas City this year, April 27th through the 29th. So that's where you stand on that. In terms of big things, you're going to keeping our eye on here. The Rodgers situation will be top of mind because that'll kind of set where teams go this offseason if he's dealt. Carr will be a free agent here in the next couple of weeks. And then obviously it'll be all about the draft. It'll be jockeying for those top positions at the top of the draft at quarterback, and we'll kind of see where all of those things go.
He's jockeying.
Irsay's doing a lot. He's just flat out saying it. We're going to start a new segment every day, different team every day. We will go through every team, every division in the National Football League, take a look at their season, take a look at their off season. Do this for two reasons. One, get smarter about the opposition that is out there, and B, see how many things align with what we need to do this offseason to get better. So we will start with the Pittsburgh Steelers on that front. Obviously a 9-8 season, third in the AFC North. I don't know how the hell they did it. Culture, I guess. I don't know. Give a damn, all of it. They somehow ended up 9-8. It defies logic. They did it. Tomlin's never had a losing record. He's been there 16 years. 163, 93, and 2 all time. And as I mentioned, never below 500. We'll take a look at their roster, what went right, what went wrong, get some real perspective from our good friend Brooke Pryor of ESPN over in Pittsburgh in terms of their offseason checklist. That is coming up next. We're off and running on a Tuesday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cycle accident caused your injury. Call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. A new team every day as we take a look at their offseason, things that they need heading into next season. We begin in our division with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and for when we talk Steelers, we like to do so, if we can, with Brooke Pryor, ESPN, NFL Nation Steelers reporter. She's as good as it gets. She joins on the Twisted Tea hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea, Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Brooke, I'll just start here. How did they go 9-8?
Because Mike Tomlin is a wizard. I mean,
guess.
that's I mean, that's probably the most logical explanation. I think the other part of it is this offense really improved after the bye week. The entire team started playing better after that bye week, middle of the season, but the offense as a whole, Kenny Pickett got better. He got more experience, and I think that they started to kind of move together as a team. The line played better. So as a whole, there was just a turnaround after that bye. But, I mean, let's be honest, a big part of this comes back to Mike Tomlin. You know, I feel like midway through the year, he gets fired just about every season. And then by the end of it, it's a trust the process situation. And once again, he pulled off a winning season.
He most certainly did. He most certainly did. Now, my question for you, though, before we get into kind of all the things that happened, as somebody who covers this team, when a story comes out during Super Bowl week like that Deontay Johnson punched Mitch Trubisky in the face, and that's why Mitch Trubisky got benched, which the logic in that story never made sense to me, and we've seen everybody. Like, it feels like if Deontay Johnson punched Mitch Trubisky in the face, he would probably get benched or disciplined, not the recipient of the punch to the face. What was your reaction when that story came out? And obviously the players reacted very swiftly and condemned it immediately.
Right. There was a lot of deep sighs like the one you just heard me have. It was one of those things that it didn't even, to me, warrant sending a text to be like, hey, is this true? Because it's not. It was so far-fetched. I mean, it was so blown out of proportion. There was an altercation in the locker room at halftime. It was not a physical, punch in the face situation the way that it was made out to be. Because you're right, the logic makes no sense. I'm sorry, you're benching the starting quarterback because the wide receiver punched him like that? What? And also, Mitch Trubisky didn't come into the locker room with a black eye or cuts on his face or anything that would make you think that he had been in a fist fight with a teammate. So, no, that was one of those things that I saw, and I got, texts from people, from friends who are not in the industry, who don't follow the Steelers, and they were like, oh, my God, is this real? And I had to tell all of them, no, guys, this is not real. This has been blown out of proportion. And sure enough, that is exactly what happened. So, yeah, there's always a fun Super Bowl week surprise, fun story that comes out, whether it's, coordinators interviewing or drama that was going on behind the scenes. But did not see this one coming, mainly because it wasn't true.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin's the coach. He's got no time for such shenanigans, and he would handle that, I think, rather swiftly in-house if there were such shenanigans. It feels like this is a team that's going to be able, for the most part, to run it back. What are the big kind of questions that they face this offseason as you see it in terms of free agents or potential cap casualties, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm sitting actually here in another divisional city. I'm in the Baltimore airport, and I was just starting to work on a story that was kind of looking at that. To me, I think the biggest thing that this team has to do to take the next step, to not just be a fringe playoff team, part of that in the hunt conversation, but to be a solid contender, is score more points. And that sounds so, like a no-duh statement, but you see the Chiefs scored 38 points. The Eagles scored 35 in the Super Bowl. This is a team in a, not only in the AFC, but in a division, just in NFL right now that is putting together more offensively minded teams that have explosive scoring, that, the Eagles played really good defense for a half and kept the Chiefs off the field. Their offense had some really long clock bleeding drives, but the Chiefs offense got back in it because they could score so fast. And that is not something that we saw with any kind of consistency out of the Steelers team last year. They retained Matt Canada. I know that was a decision that people, I think, outside the building were surprised by, but that, from everything I was told, that was kind of the expected move. All year was never really a conversation of whether or not they would part ways with him because he had another year on his contract. And also the improvement that they made after the bye kind of lended itself to show, hey, this is what Canada could do maybe with a full season, an off season with Kenny Pickett installed as the starter. So they have to utilize the weapons that they've given him in Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson has got to catch some balls and hold on to them and do it in the end zone. You need to see a consistent season from Najee Harris running behind a better line. All of those things are going to be incredibly important. But, in free agency, I think that they're going to need to focus maybe on the offensive line. I would also expect them to target some line prospects, interior or exterior. I mean, I think that they could use an upgrade at either tackle or guard spots. But I also think that they need to look to the other side of the ball, inside linebackers, because not Miles Jack, I'm sorry, Devin Bush will not be back. I would not expect him to be back.
Yep.
Miles Jack, though, could be, one of those cap casualties. Also, I'd look at corner. Look at a guy, Cam Sutton is probably their biggest free agent that they would like to bring him back, but he could be too expensive. So they will need to do some hunting for a corner either in the draft or free agency.
Brooke, is Kenny Pickett good enough?
I think so. I know that they're kind of two schools of thought. Either he's the second coming of Jesus Christ himself or he's a work in progress. I think that he's a work in progress. Doesn't mean that he, maybe couldn't become the second coming. But, I think that he did show a lot of things to me over the course of this season that I tend to think that he can be the next franchise quarterback. Mike Tomlin didn't want to give him that title in his end of the year wrap up because he said, there's so many connotations and pressure that comes with that. But I look at the way that he handled this season as a whole and how good he was in, the last drives of this game in 2-minute situations, things like that. He was really cool and collected under that kind of pressure. Especially in a game like the Christmas Eve game against the Raiders. Not only is this an important game for them to win, keep their playoff hopes alive, but it's also been an incredibly emotional week. Just all of these exterior factors that I think some rookie quarterbacks would really struggle to deal with, and even some veteran quarterbacks. So I really like the progress that he made, especially in not turning the ball over much after the bye. I think he has that it factor, but he just needs an offense around him, both in the skill players and the line and the scheme that kind of hones into what he's good at and supports him for him to be able to take that next step in his development.
I asked the question because you watch this. We're in the same situation, right? You look at what Mahomes did. You mentioned what Hurts did. I mean, that's a 38-35 game. You think about what Allen and Burrow and the Ravens just added Todd Monken. That dude can scheme it up so that they're going to be much better.
Mm-hmm.
You got to score in the 30s to win it. And I know that's obviously Pittsburgh's goal all the time. Go win it. Go win the Super Bowl. That's the operation. They're trying to do that over here. And I kind of changed the way I viewed our offseason here. I was thinking D-tackle. I'm like, no, weapons, more weapons, all the weapons in the world. And so that for Pittsburgh, they have some of those weapons. It's just, is Pickett, can he be somebody who elevates the way Jalen Hurts did this year, right? Can he go to that next level? And you're saying that there were parts that you saw this year that lead you to believe that maybe he could.
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, look, the thing that I like about Kenny Pickett is not only does he have that ability to be calm in those big pressure moments, he can really throw the ball, and we didn't see that enough. I felt like there were times when you saw his connection with George Pickens, and I think that he really does have the arm to do that. I also really like the dual threat ability that he has, the gains that he was making with his legs on the ground. To me, that is the most, I don't want to say most important part of a quarterback in, the 2022, 2023, where we are right now in the NFL, but that's something that this league is evolving to. I mean, you saw the way that Jalen Hurts was a dual threat quarterback. Even Mahomes in his kind of like yabba dabba doo running style that he had in the Super Bowl with, running on one ankle, all that kind of stuff. I think that you need that mobility out of quarterback, and I think that Pickett has that. And so I do think that he can elevate this entire offense if he's given a scheme that allows him to do that, if he's given an opportunity to run a fast-paced offense. I feel like, he was held back a little bit this year, and that's because he was a rookie quarterback, and I think that they did not want him to be in a position where he was turning the ball over, and so they prioritized, ball security over maybe taking some of those risks. But I really want to see this offense open up and take some of those and hope that he has grown and matured enough that he's making smarter decisions and not putting this offense in a bad spot.
Well, if that happens, you mentioned George Pickens, 801 yards, 15.4 yards a catch, 4 touchdowns to lead the team in his rookie year. TJ Watt made the comment, I think it was during the Super Bowl or around that media time, that he's not sure if Pickens knows how good he can be. What did Watt mean by that, and what do you think? Is he the guy that if this offense is going to explode, he's going to become the household name?
I mean, he absolutely is that guy. And it's funny, I see what TJ's saying. Maybe it's that Matt Canada doesn't know how good Pickens can be, because I think George Pickens has a pretty good idea of his talent level, when you see him coming off the field screaming, like, get me the you-know-what ball. All of that stuff. I think Pickens is aware that he can be a talent, but I think some of that is, he has to figure out how to be mature and be an offensive threat, because no, the ball is not always going to go your way. It's about being part of a team. But this is a guy that should be the number one receiver, but, there's still Deontay Johnson on the team, as much as he kind of struggled last year. They also want to throw the ball to Pat Freiermuth, so it's not going to be the George Pickens show as much as he wants it to be. And that's also part of, I think, the way that the NFL is moving, is that there's not necessarily the same traditional number one receiver to make an offense successful. I mean, the Chiefs offense is the perfect example of that, is you have a complement of these threats. And so I think that, though, that Pickens needs to be more involved in the offense going forward for this team to really explode, to break out of, what felt like kind of frustrating watching this team. Like, God, if they could just get him the ball more, look at him more, imagine, the ceiling that they could have on this team.
Brooke, we got the NFL Combine here coming up at the end of the month. I mean, the Steelers have 4 picks in the top 80, 3 in the top 50. The theft and the Claypool deal to the Bears,
God.
They're picking 32nd overall. It's a first-round pick in any other year. They can really improve bigly in a hurry. What is the wish list here? What will the priorities be in the draft?
Well, I think that Omar Khan really finessed that Chase Claypool trade to offload him and get, like you said, essentially another first-round pick. That was, to me, the move of the season for the Steelers, of the off season, all of that. That, to me, has the potential to dictate where this team goes. But I think their wish list is going to be, I would not be surprised if they find another receiver to draft. They've had so much success drafting second-round receivers, even though it's not a position of need. Like you said, this game right now is all about stocking up on weapons. But so I would not be surprised to see that be a priority, but also offensive line and corner. Joey Porter Jr. coming out of Penn State, obviously a Steelers legacy guy. I mean, I've seen him mocked to the Steelers in just about every mock draft. And, it's funny, for as much as, the NFL likes to try to, cause some misdirection, teams don't want you to know who they're thinking where. The last 2 years, I feel like it's been fairly obvious who the Steelers really wanted. I mean, even last year, Kenny Pickett was their guy all along, and I feel like we tried to talk ourselves out of that. Like, no, there's no way, guys. It's way too obvious that they're going to go with the Pitt guy next door. Same thing with Najee Harris 2 years ago. Like, oh, he's been on everybody's draft board for the Steelers. No way the Steelers are actually going to take the Alabama running back. That's how I feel about Joey Porter Jr. Like, no way. Are they really going to go with a corner out of Penn State whose dad played for this team? I mean, that's way too obvious, right? I think that it's so obvious that it just might happen. So that's kind of where I'm looking for them to focus some of their efforts coming up here in the next couple months.
Brooke, great stuff as always. Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Brooke Pryor, ESPN Nation Steelers reporter on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea, hard iced tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Yeah, I don't know if I realized they had 4 of the top 80 and 3 in the top 50, but they can add to that thing, and they went 9-8, and they're going to be able to add a lot of talent. We'll get into some of their wants and needs, and as they are trying, we're all in this race together trying to catch Kansas City. Some of us further along than others. We'll get into the Steelers coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Home for the last time with Renew Home Exteriors. Renew Home Exteriors knows your time is limited. You can't spend all day being quoted on your product. That's why they offer you the best price up front. There's no hidden cost, just a fair and final price to make your home remodeling project easy. Upgrade the look of your home. Create a high return on your investment. It's new siding from Renew Home Exteriors. It's going to get it done for you. Ranging in every architectural style and over 50 colors. Family-owned Northeast Ohio bred. Your home for superior products and superior service. Visit RenewEstimate.com. Somehow the Steelers were 9-8. It's a stunning thing that they were able to do it. We split with them last season. Their final league rankings, they were 23rd overall in offense, uninspiring. They were 13th in defense, despite the fact that they missed T.J. Watt for a big portion of the season. They were +4 in turnover differential in terms of key free agents. Devin Bush, Terrell Edmonds, Cameron Sutton among them, Larry Ogunjobi as well. They will bring much of their group back, though, and it will really be for them. I mean, with what I outlined in terms of what they can do in the draft with 4 picks in the top 80 and 3 in the top 50, they're going to put a ton of talent into their building in the first couple of days of the draft. It'll just really comes down to the Pickett question. Can he make a leap? Can he look to be demonstrably better than he was at times this year?
Right. I mean, when you look at this team, what went right for them, a year ago? Defense, excellent as always. T.J. Watt, game record. They came through in close game situations, especially down the stretch. Pickett had 3 game-winning drives, 3, and 4 fourth-quarter comebacks. The great Brad Mellon walking by. What a legend. What a hero.
Iconic.
He is iconic.
All he does is deliver. They used to say the U.S. Postal Service.
Is that Carl Mailman Malone right there?
Yep.
So I call him Mailman.
Just delivers.
They're a phenomenal defense. Brooke hit the nail on the head. They need to score more points. The question is, what are the limiting factors of Kenny Pickett? I mean, and like I said, he came through in the clutch at the end and played some nice games for them. But the fact is, and he's going to improve, 63% completions, 6.2 yards per attempt, 9.8 yards per completion, 7 touchdowns, 9 picks, rating of 76. You take away, if he doesn't come through in a couple of those drives, all of a sudden, this is a team that's 6-11. On those fourth quarter comebacks, and one was the Raiders. There were a couple of them. He had 2 back-to-back ones that were kind of surreal, almost watching. It could be a whole different story for them. They're a great defense. They need to apply talent on the back end of their defense in the cornerback room. They need to get their offensive line better, and then you need more weapons. You can never have enough weapons. I think they're good at running back. Harris and Jaylen Warren, they found as an undrafted free agent a year ago, who I think was a very pleasant surprise for them. He averaged 5 yards a carry, ran for almost 400 yards, but they need somebody else in the pass game. You got Pickens, you need 3. You need a third receiver that you feel good about. You got Freiermuth. Now, they could maybe say we're going to do the Eagles model, right? And all the throwing is going to go to 3 people. But the Eagles, part of that reason that works is because their quarterback is also an offensive weapon as a runner. So, yeah, I just think in the end it's just the Pickett conversation. So they threw 12 touchdowns as a team in a season.
He threw 7. You're right, 12 as a team. He threw 7. Yeah. He went 7 touchdowns, 9 picks over the course of the season. There were only 3 instances last year where he threw for over 250 yards on the year.
Yep.
So to me, he feels to me like, and this is a compliment in the sense of what this player was. To me, he feels like what Andy Dalton was at his best. Like, I think is the ceiling.
If he can.
Right.
I don't know that he can. Andy Dalton was really good.
He was. They won the division with him. They would go to the playoffs over and over again.
He was a multiple-time Pro Bowler.
That ain't good enough with that kid in Kansas City.
No.
That's not good enough with that kid in Cincinnati. It's not good enough with the kid in Buffalo. We hope it's not good enough with our guy if he gets back to his form from a couple of years ago.
Right.
Like, you have got to score in the 30s consistently to beat those type of teams. Pickett, to me, doesn't seem like the type of guy who can do it.
No, like Dalton in 2013 threw for 4,300 yards and 33 touchdowns. Like, Pickett doesn't feel like that's even within the realm of possibility. Now, maybe he'll evolve, but that's the question for them, right? We could go through what went right. They found ways to win close games and have a winning record again under Mike Tomlin. What went wrong? Really, honestly, for them?
Not much.
Not much went wrong.
I think they played to their ceiling. What went right is their belief went right.
Yes.
There was buy-in to that helmet and that jersey, and the people were held accountable. They buy into the coaching. They get in line. They do their jobs. That's what went right. What went wrong? Nothing. They went 9-8. I think they maxed out their ceiling
Totally.
completely. And
They're not a threat to
by the
anybody
way,
good.
and they got Pickens. So that's
That
getting
was a
it
big
right.
win, right. Yeah.
What's your next one?
Biggest reason for optimism?
They're the Steelers.
They're the Steelers. Tomlin, T.J. Watt,
They're
Cam
stable.
Hayward, Minka.
They stay the course.
Pickens, I think, is a nice
They don't
talent.
fall off.
Najee's a great talent. They win. They
win.
don't lose.
Yeah.
Why will they fail?
Pickett.
Agreed. That's
the deal.
That's the deal.
It was their turn to get a first-round draft pick at quarterback, and it was in a year where there weren't a ton of them available.
Yep.
And so they took the best of the lot, and there's a ceiling on his talent in my view. I could be dead wrong, but it feels like there's a ceiling on the talent.
Player from the team that you would – who's the one player you would
Pickens.
take over Watt?
Yes. I know that's crazy, but you would want Watt, obviously.
Sure.
But we need – like if you had George Pickens, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Deshaun Watson –
We could have.
I know. I didn't want to bring that up. But, yes, we could have. But his type of – Watt's the answer because he's –
Of course, because you'd have Watt and Myles Garrett.
Watt and Myles Garrett would be ridiculous. But you still need more weapons to beat Kansas City.
From what's reasonable, Pickens is reasonable. Yeah, and look, the Browns could
Cam
have gotten
Hayward
him.
wouldn't be bad either.
My list was Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, Pickens.
Yeah.
Those are the four guys that you'd give consideration to. You know, Pickens has – obviously, some attitude issues. It was even, you heard her kind of allude to that there.
Yeah.
That culture can withstand that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that our culture could at this point because it is not a winning culture where, Mike Tomlin's going to be able to get a guy like that in line. And so the Browns opted not to bring that headache in. And sometimes you miss out on supremely talented people because you're not ready yet to deal with that. And I think it's unfortunate for the Browns that ended up happening. But I'm with you. This is a team, to me, that is going to be predicted to be third in the AFC North next year. I guess my guess is we're going to be predicted to be fourth because I was watching today on NFL Network. They did a power ranking. I only saw the top 16. The Steelers were like 13. The Ravens were better than that, and the Bengals were in the top 4.
Yep.
And we were not pictured.
It's appropriate.
No, if it's I would take us over the Steelers.
You can't. They're 9-8.
We went 1-1 against them.
You know You know that you can't. We got to show it.
We have to show.
Number 4 has got to look like 2 years ago.
We're Missouri. We're the show me state.
It's got to be proof. You got one more over there?
Yeah. What uniforms, if there's a uniform combo that you have seen that you love or one that you would want to now that we can do anything with helmets, we can do anything. Is there anything you'd like to see out of the Steelers? I have one that I'd like to see.
Give me what you do.
I wouldn't mind.
They already have all black, right?
They have all black. Back in the day,
the monochrome.
I do. You know where I'm going. Mm-hmm. So back in the day, and I'm talking the days of Mean Joe Green and Jack Lambert, and they never do this now. They used to wear white on white.
So that's where I was going to go. I was going to go white pant.
I wouldn't mind seeing that with a white lid where you don't even need the circle of white for the Steelers. You just have the logo
That's not bad.
itself on a white helmet, black stripe down the middle, black numbers, and away you go.
You put yellow on the sleeves?
Yeah, because look, this is – so you go off of that.
Oh, yeah. They used to – yeah, you're right. They used to wear the white pant.
And just throw a white lid on top of it.
Yeah.
Which I think would look pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with
that. Because that Bengals one looks so
It
good.
looks very good. Yeah. No,
that's what I want to see.
I like that. I like that as one.
It's another Steelers helmet they could sell too because they've worn a yellow lid before.
Yeah.
Which I don't love and the Bumblebee ones.
That's crazy.
The prison ones, forget about it. But I think an all white a Mean Joe Green all white.
And the fact that they haven't mined something from that era is a little surprising.
Yeah, it's Bradshaw.
It's all those guys. The image you just had is Lambert and Mean Joe and all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, they got a chance to get really good. It's just really Pickett. It's
all about Pickett.
It's all him. That's the whole operation. Did they hit on him,
Pickett,
or did they not?
Yeah.
Coming up next, we put the Super Bowl to bed. Our one thought, one game ball, our one goat from the Super Bowl. That's all coming up next as we get into the second hour of the program. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. On your Cleveland Browns to help your favorite four-legged companion, Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. As we put Super Bowl, what was it, 57?
57.
To bed? $113 million?
It's sad to put it to bed, by the way, because it means the season's over and we don't actually get to talk about games for a long time. We just get to talk about all the people that got their, profited from the scores. Good for you guys.
Yeah, I do think it's probably as good a job as we've ever done collectively.
Yeah.
So ended up like 80-some games over 500 for the year, right? I don't know what it was exactly.
We both won the Super Bowl.
We both got the Super Bowl. I think we're well over 40 each.
We split the championship games.
So we were over 40 over before that. We may have been 90 games over 500 between the two of us.
I'll pull them up right now. We were, when it all said and done, and by the way, you won the fantasy handily.
Gibby got drubbed.
They got absolutely
drubbed again, yeah.
Grilled again. So we ended up 3-2, so that's 46. Combined, we were 92.
92 games over 500.
Yeah. That's our best.
Picking with the scores. That's the best ever.
Picking every single game.
Every game with the scores. Having to do it. And also, I had the MVP and the Super Bowl champion in August.
That is correct.
Yeah. And then we nailed the Super Bowl. So
you and I both got robbed, by the way, on Coach of the Year not being Sirianni. We were robbed. I mean, Daboll.
Did we both pick Sirianni?
We both picked Sirianni in the preseason. I got Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson.
Good job out of you.
Yep. Yeah.
How did Sirianni not win it? They went Daboll?
They went Daboll.
Come on.
I know.
Come on, man.
Yeah. No, but for
that's remarkable.
The four major awards of MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Coach, we had an MVP. We got an Offensive Player of the Year. I consider us to have gotten the Coach of the Year right, so I don't care what they say.
Yeah, they got it wrong.
The only one we didn't get was Defensive Player of the Year because we took Miles.
We took Miles, yeah.
And it was Nicholas Bosa.
Yeah. There you go. So, yeah, very good job. All right, one final thought from Super Bowl 57, Kansas City 38, Philly 35, which we had the exact margin. We were a total of 2 points off.
Yeah, it was pretty well. You were really. I just piggybacked on it with a nice old same there.
Yep.
The one thought is masterclass by Andy Reid that this game had for the Eagles. It had one game script, but that the Chiefs are game script proof. The Eagles now, could they have won in a comeback style? Perhaps, but the Chiefs are so comfortable playing from behind and orchestrating comebacks when they got Mahomes. They believe, and rightfully so, that they're never out of it.
Yeah.
And that enabled them to go out there and do exactly what they had to do to win. And they did it. And they did so incredibly, incredibly effectively. And I think that just shows when you've got Mahomes, you're never out of it. It doesn't matter what they're down by. Think about both of their Super Bowl wins. They were down significantly to the Niners in great peril late in the third quarter. And they pull kind of a Houdini out of their tuchus and get that done. And then now, this year they were behind double digits at the half and came back and won. If it was the reverse, I think it would have been much more difficult for the Eagles to come back. But this team with Patrick Mahomes and they're moving into, dynasty type territory. They're never out of it. And I think that's just a testament to their coaching. It's a testament to Mahomes and his greatness. Like, he had 4 game-winning drives and 4 fourth-quarter comebacks this year. And that doesn't even count. That's not even counting the playoffs, I mean, think about that. That means they went 10-3. They won 10 games where they were not behind in the fourth quarter at all out of their 14.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 7 games in which they were behind in the fourth quarter, they won 4 of them.
Yeah. One game ball, I want to cut it in half for Reid and Mahomes. Each gets a half.
Okay.
Here's what I would say as you're going through all that stuff with Mahomes and Reid. Is this the best quarterback-coach marriage in NFL history? I know you're going to go Walsh-Montana, but let me just say this. Hold on just a second.
Because you're not going to count Belichick breaks. He's a defensive.
Right. He's not speaking his language.
Okay.
I'm talking about offensive-minded coach with quarterback. I don't know that Bill Walsh ever liked Montana. It seemed like he was trying to get rid of him or move off of him.
No, he liked
from
him.
86 on. He was trying to move
he
off
was
him
out
with the
then.
injuries.
He was out.
But they brought in Young, and
Seifert Seifert coached at
Seifert's
89.
89. But I'm talking about when they acquired Young,
Yeah.
Walsh was still there before they went to Seifert, and then he did it. But the answer is Walsh in Montana. But
For
this is
now.
close, and it feels like the reason that I think you could put these two, it feels like they adore each other. Like Reed adores Mahomes. Mahomes adores Reed. Did you hear the press conference yesterday when Patrick Mahomes, they were talking about, how your chances going forward or whatever. He's like, as long as I got the big fella here with me, we can beat anybody. The window's always open.
Yeah.
Like there's a genuine affection between Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
And Reed's offensive acumen is just, and he's coming from the Walsh tree, right?
Yeah.
Inevitably, because it's Holmgren, Reed.
Yes.
Holmgren's right from Walsh, so it's all trickle down, but it just feels like those two are so aligned.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, like Manning had a bunch of different coaches throughout the years. It was Caldwell, it was Dungy. Like there wasn't anybody you'd look at with Manning and go offensive genius. Got it. Walsh Montana is the best example. That's the apex of it. This is right there.
It sure is. No, it's right there. And Walsh and Montana won 3 together, 81, 84, 88. So Montana got hurt in 86.
And that's when they got Young.
Yeah, the next year he was the MVP.
Yeah.
In 87, and then they win Super Bowls 88, 89.
Yeah.
He's a pretty it certainly has a chance, and you'd have to think that it's very feasible that they could win another one.
Yeah.
I mean,
win a couple more.
Feels very feasible.
They're going to get at bats.
So Andy Reid has had, since coming to the Chiefs, he's had a winning season every season. He has won double-digit games every year. He came in 2013 was his first year. Goes 11-5. Then he goes 9-7 the year after that. 11-5, 12-4, 10-6, 12-4. Then the first one is Mahomes is 12-4 in 18.
Yep.
Then 12-4 in 19 Super Bowl, 14-2, 12-5, 14-3 Super Bowl. So he won in Kansas City with Alex Smith 11-5, 9-7, 11-5, 12-4, 10-6.
Those 5 years.
Yeah.
And now he's got Mahomes.
He's Andy Reid's unbelievable.
Yes.
And he started his career, he's had 2 stretches in his career nearly 20 years apart of 5 straight double-digit win seasons. And he's currently on a streak right now with the Chiefs of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 straight double-digit win seasons. I mean,
he can go with this kid for the next 5 to 8 years.
Yeah, if he wants
8 to 10 if he wants. But 5 to 8 for a prime, right? I mean, you go to mid-30s is prime for anybody, and then unless you're Brady, you start to fall off. But Mahomes can go another 8 years. They'll have at-bats in it every single year.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're not done.
No.
He could get to 3 or 4 by the time it's all said and done.
Well, no, we talked about yesterday. If he gets to 3, that's rarefied air.
Did you hear the two Mahomes ones too? In terms of his greatness, guys with 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 Super Bowls is 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and 2 Super Bowl championships. That's just Montana, Mahomes, Brady. That's it. That's the list.
And he's done it in 5 years.
The only other guys, if you want to add 2 MVPs and 2 Super Bowls, that only adds Manning and Young and Mahomes to Brady and
so he's at a minimum 1 of 6, and he's really 1 of 3.
And really, he's one of, and the Young, the one Super Bowl it's not his. He's got 94, monkey off his back.
You can't count that other one.
No, I'm just saying technically they did,
what?
But it doesn't count him.
Play.
He's not his guy. He didn't play. No, he gets 1.
Joe was the MVP of that Super Bowl.
Correct. Yes,
Get out of here.
That's the one in New Orleans, isn't it?
Yes, 55-10
Smoked
over
them,
the Denver Broncos.
Beatdown. So he's
actually Jerry Rice may have been the MVP in that one. I'll have to look at that.
I don't know. It was child's play for them.
Well, I think Rice may have had 3 touchdowns in that one. Rice was the Super Bowl MVP.
But that's the rarefied air.
Yeah.
And the 3 Super Bowl winnings as a coach is Noel, Walsh, Belichick, Gibbs.
That's it.
That's it.
Hard
He'd
stop.
be the 5th.
Hard stop. All right, hold on real quickly because I love looking this stuff up. We've got Jerry Rice. I was right. Jerry Rice. Oh, no. So Jerry Rice was in 88. Montana in '89, and Montana's is a 3-time Super Bowl MVP.
Who'd they beat in '88?
'88
Why
was
am
the
I blanking
Bengals
on-
again.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was where Rice caught the slant touchdown. John Candy. That was a John Candy game.
That one was John Candy, not the '81.
No, because I was too young for
so that was
to have
it,
any
yeah.
recollection.
That's John Taylor to win it, right?
John Taylor wins it. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. The slant
So-
to John Taylor.
So that's you think about Mahomes can now now you're talking to Montana's a 3-time MVP of the league.
3-time Montana is a 3-time Super Bowl MVP.
And I wonder if he's also a 3-time
and he is
MVP.
a 4-time Super Bowl champion. Hold, please. Montana is a 2-time MVP, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 8-time Pro Bowler, and obviously a Hall of Famer.
So that Mahomes with another MVP, another Super Bowl, he's on his own at that point. Brady's got 3 MVPs. I think Brady's got 3. Manning's got 6, I think, doesn't he? Peyton Manning.
Brady 3 MVPs. Rodgers has a couple too.
Rodgers has 3 or 4.
Peyton.
Manning's number is huge. It's 5.
And that's a wild number. He's the best regular season quarterback of all time.
I think he's 6-time first-team All-Pro. And I think he's got
7 first-team All-Pros, 5 MVPs
for Peyton Manning. Yeah.
So that's got to be the most MVPs.
That's got it. That is the most. Yeah. That's the most. Yeah. So he's on the cusp of this, and he's 5 years into his career.
5 years into it. Brady played 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he ever gets to 4-4, he will be one of one.
That ain't far.
No. Rodgers 4-time MVP.
Yeah. A lot of Rodgers Manning parallels, although Manning's more likable. But there are a lot of parallels in terms of postseason failures versus
Totally.
regular season success, all the All-Pro stuff, all the MVP stuff. A lot of parallels between Manning and Rodgers. Manning more accomplished, but Rodgers feels like the NFC version of that. One GOAT from the Super Bowl. I don't remember. Is this someone who screwed up or someone who's the greatest of all time?
No, somebody who screwed up.
Of course, Gibby.
Yeah,
Glass is half empty.
of course. I don't think
anybody did.
you'd say some people.
I'm
say
going to tell you who screwed up.
the officials is what they would
Nah.
say. I'm not here for that.
Bradbury owned it. Like you can't even go there. I'll tell you who screwed up. Did you see the image of the dancer who almost fell from one of those ridiculous platforms?
No. What?
Feast your eyes on that, Coach.
Okay.
It's terrifying
Okay.
how close that was almost to tragedy in that thing. Enough with people on elevated things dancing.
And
You can't gyrate on something 50 feet in the air, man. We live in a society.
we live in a society.
Did you pull it up yet?
I got it right here. Oh, it wasn't that bad. He just kind of slipped and fell on their butts. They were harnessed in though too. All right, that
Are you
wasn't
sure
as
they
bad.
were?
Yeah, it says all dancers were harnessed to a cable.
Oh, okay. I thought only Rihanna was to the cable.
I mean, it looked pretty bad. I mean, let's not.
Not great.
No, but that one wasn't. I thought it was going to be like an over the edge
no,
situation.
not an
They're
over the
falling their
edge.
butt. Like
Yeah.
That's it.
You're sort
smart
of fine.
though. Smart though. Go right down.
Go
your
right
butt.
to the butt as soon as you can.
Right to the butt. Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was nobody who screwed this up. It was a great game.
It was a great game. There are people who be mad at the refs. You know, you could say unfortunately, and Jalen Hurts could be the GOAT in this game in both senses.
Yeah.
The fumble touchdown is a huge play.
It is.
It was an unforced error, as they say, right? Nobody knocked the ball out. It just
Yep.
It happens. It happened to the. By the way, Jamal Agnew doesn't do that against the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Things could be so different there. He did that for the Jags. They threw a little hitch to him at like the 8-yard line when they were still very much in that game, and the ball just scored it right out of his hands, fumble, and changed that whole game.
The late hit thing on Mahomes in the Cincinnati game.
Well,
It was clearly it was, but it's the same thing where it's like, gosh almighty, are they even in it?
Right.
If he doesn't do that,
Right.
we'll never know.
But sometimes those are the kind of breaks you need to become. It's hard to become a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, it is.
And they've done it now twice.
They have. We'll go around the league coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Calendars face up on the lake, presented by Meyer. The first major outdoor hockey game at First Energy. It's this Saturday. Buckeyes and Wolverines at First Energy Stadium. Tickets on sale now, starting at just $12. For more information, visit firstenergystadium.com/faceoff or call 440-891-5050 for more. We have another coaching hire made. It was Carolina's the other one.
Yep, Carolina, Frank Reich. Yep.
So we have another one. Arizona is it John Gannon?
John Gannon.
You could have convinced. You could have said no. Actually, it's Bob, and I would say fine.
No, that's right.
In fact, it's John Gannon, who's the Eagles' D coordinator. He goes to Arizona to coordinate to be that team. And say what you said off air about that.
Good luck.
Good luck, brother.
Good luck.
Yeah, you'll
you
need
got
it.
Kyler. You're not going to have a ton of talent, honestly, on offense.
No.
Ertz got hurt last year late in the season with an ACL. Kyler's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season with an ACL. Hopkins is supposedly on his way out, so you'll have Hollywood Brown. Kirk left and was actually quite good in Jacksonville. I don't know if he was 17 million good, but you're not going to have a lot of talent on offense. J.J. Watt just retired. I don't know that you're going to have a lot of talent on defense. I know that that's a talented team. Beautiful place to live.
Fantastic place to live.
Yep.
And they got to redo their branding. They got to get new uniforms. Got to get those things sorted out.
Just go back to the Tillmans. Those are just so
can't
solid.
Use the Reebok.
No, too many
nonsense
panels and nonsense.
Nonsense on them. Get them cleaned up. That's your operation there. Did I tell you I was talking to a guy from Arizona, I think last year, and he came up with the idea of just take the bird off of it. Because if you take that bird off of it, which is it's a image that goes back to St. Louis, obviously with the St. Louis Cardinals, probably Chicago Cardinals before that. But like, you don't have to name something after a songbird. Like, if you want to be the Cardinals, fine. But like,
Yeah.
in those days, when a team moved, they just kept the name instead of. Why didn't they just rebrand them? Just because it was easier to keep it?
Yeah. I'd like him to go to
It's wild.
You know what logo I always loved?
I would play into the Valley of the Sun stuff. Like some
Sure.
of that Sun stuff they have is gorgeous.
I loved when the Arizona Wildcats had the logo that was like spelled out Arizona, but the
Act
I
like I
was
don't know what it is.
the swar. Like
Give me a
that to me
break.
was
Come on.
so good.
Yes.
Bring that back.
It's gorgeous.
Get a Subaru on the helmets.
Yeah.
And away we go.
Let's go. Yeah, but they won't. As I mentioned in the previous segment, 113 million people watched the Super Bowl this year. Third most watched television show of all time. Most watched in 6 years, Super Bowl 51 between the Patriots and Falcons. The number one was Patriots and Seahawks was the number one most viewed Super Bowl of all time. 30 of the top 31 shows ever watched on television are NFL Super Bowls. Can you name the one that is not a Super Bowl?
I have two guesses. Can I have two guesses? Is
Yeah,
that fair?
of course. You're the
Guess one
franchise.
would be the MASH finale.
Nailed it.
Okay.
You only needed one.
Guess two was going to be the O.J. Simpson verdict, which is one of the most watched
Yeah, it
things
was a
ever.
lot there, yeah. Yeah, but it was MASH finale.
MASH finale.
Hot take. Movie better than TV show. The MASH movie's a lot of fun. Donald Sutherland
I don't even know that I've watched it.
frolicking around. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. So good.
TV show's great.
TV show's good too, but I think the movie's better.
I remember that opening for whatever reason just being on in my house a lot, just 'cause I think it was on
when
TV
you and I
all
were
the time.
young, it was on every channel,
All the
and it was
time.
always on after you got home from school.
Yep.
It was on at like 5 o'clock before like the news or
that helicopter
Yep.
flying through it. Yeah,
always flies through there.
Yep.
The movie's great.
I'll have to
Sutherland's
check it
in
out.
it.
I'll have to check it out.
Who else is in it? Tom Skerritt's in it.
Oh, Scarrett.
Skerritt's great.
Big Scarrett guy.
Elliot Gould. And Elliot Gould is in it.
Gould.
I feel like Pedro would have thrived in the MASH movie.
I'm gonna have to ask him today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him what he is.
Oh.
Yes, I will accept that rose.
He will accept the rose.
Yes, I will. Melon.
Derek Carr expected released by the Raiders today. $40 million of his money will become guaranteed at 4 o'clock. Good job out of him.
Great job out of him.
Actually, I'll just take the money.
I'm
you
not,
bozos.
and I'm not gonna help you as one bit.
No, I'll just take
in
my
your
cash.
faces.
My theory on that is that Mark Davis has no real interest in any of the football stuff because he will just give whoever he hires full autonomy.
Yeah,
Like
he must
Gruden,
not.
He doesn't have any interest in football. His dad was all into football. He has no interest in it. So you take it. You do it all. It's on you. Wake me up in 10 years when the contract's out.
Do you think that we're ever gonna get a full?
No.
We should.
I agree. Yeah. Ian Rappaport adding that the Saints, Panthers, Jets,
No.
and Titans are expected to pursue Carr after he is released. I would think that NFC South is prime. For
If I'm
somebody
him,
to go
that's
in
where
there.
I want to go.
I want to go down there and eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. What of those circumstances is best?
Carolina, you'd have DJ Moore. Saints, you got Olave. You got maybe Mike Thomas if he ever plays again. You got that tight end who came
Yeah.
on pretty strong.
Tampa Bay's not bad. Well, but their roster's going to need to be totally
Yeah.
turned over.
Yeah.
I would not go to either of the AFC teams.
Jets would be I mean, if you could, Jets is loaded. Titans, I would no chance.
No part, yeah. Vikings Pro Bowl running back Dalvin Cook underwent surgery today to fix a broken shoulder he suffered in 2019. That feels like a long time.
Wow.
That's wild.
I love the quote from his agent.
The agent is amazing quote. This reminds me of like you remember when ends up being. Do you remember when Terrell Owens was thought to have? There was reports that he was trying to end his life, and his agent had that awkward press conference where she said, "Terrell has however many million reasons to live."
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what this one feels like. The quote is, "Dalvin has been absolutely dominant, and we cannot wait until September." Okay,
Cool.
fantastic.
A lot of
agree
big
more.
Dalvin guys brought me a couple fantasy titles. Thank you.
One other thing that we haven't gotten to much other than to mention, and it's significant, the Ravens have hired Georgia offensive coordinator Todd Monken to be their offensive coordinator. Todd was here the Freddie year.
Yep.
He is a brilliant
Yep.
offensive mind. You could make an argument that he was the best offensive coordinator in college football over the last couple of years.
Yep.
Lincoln Riley and Ryan Day are probably Lincoln's probably at the top of the game in terms of schematically. Ryan Day's right there, but they're head coaches. From a coordinator standpoint, nobody's been better than Todd Monken. I was dismayed that he landed in Baltimore because I don't want that type of offensive
that's one of
genius
those absolute
in Baltimore. I don't want that.
Yeah.
He's a good dude too.
So
I used to love our chats.
I loved it when he was in here.
Yeah, I loved it.
So here's my question to you.
Yeah.
He comes from naturally from an air raidish background.
Yeah.
As he would tell us. Do you think that he is taking this job with a vision of for Lamar, or he's taking this job for a vision of let's get a throwing quarterback in here?
I think he probably his vision of it would be, you see what Philly did with Hurts, let me do that with Lamar. Lamar's more talented. Let me do it with him.
Yep.
Watch me work.
They're going to have to get talent for him to throw the football to.
Correct. Yeah.
That they do not have yet right now.
Yeah. All right.
And what I think what he could be, here's the thing. No free agent receivers ever wanted to go there before.
Mm-mm.
They might want to go there with Todd Monken.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could change them in a hurry.
Yeah. I think the pitch is, and it's to Lamar, it was probably to Todd, was do for us what they did for Jalen Hurts. That's it. That's the operation, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I didn't like that. That's one of those where you're like,
yeah. He was great. I loved seeing him in here.
He was awesome.
Loved chatting with him in here. I wish that one year he had more say.
I do too.
In the operation,
and he did not. And I think he was well aware of the shortcomings that were transpiring around him.
Yeah, I would say that is an accurate statement. I think he probably just got sick of recruiting. Is probably how he ended up. Like, you can't ever take time off in the NFL. He made a bunch of money
in college.
In college, made a bunch of money in college. He's the NIL stuff, the constant recruiting. Like, that's enough. I'm done. And so he's back. Unfortunately, he's in our division against a rival. AP will join us next. We'll do a little higher or lower. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Time for a little higher lower, presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. AP is here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Is this our last higher or lower of the year?
The year doesn't stop, brother.
We keep going with these? Okay,
It's the first of the new year, AP.
Good. I'm glad. Glad to be back.
Yeah, it's the new year now. We're on to 2023, brother.
Z just shared with me this. I had said there's no reason for me to ever go back, and then you just shared like
watch the
something that
video.
I
Like
didn't
you
know was
literally are
possible.
walking around with Chewbacca about to like tangle with some people.
That's craziness, man.
Yeah. They got it all figured out.
They do.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
what did they pay?
Oh, by the way, I'm pretty sure it's cheap.
Oh, I'm sure it's very cheap. I think didn't they pay George Lucas $4 billion for the world? And they got all of it, right? Because they got Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty cool too. They do the Indiana Jones stunt thing.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
So they have that, and then they've got all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, they're doing just fine.
That was always my favorite part of Hollywood Studios, the Indiana Jones. And I don't know if they've even made it better, revamped it somehow. Like I was just.
It's huge. I
Yeah.
mean, they basically produce a movie.
It's a studio. Yeah. It's
in
it's
front of you. Yeah,
yeah.
that was really cool. All right, better or worse? This is from the NFL.com Power Rankings. The Kansas City Chiefs are number 1.
So is this the final ranking of
I guess.
2022, or is this supposed to be 23? So this is. There's only one thing left to do. Time to reveal the final power rankings before the dawn of another league year. So this is his final ranking
final.
for this season.
Okay.
For this season.
So we can't look ahead.
No, so it doesn't. And then they'll start doing them again after free agency and push.
All right, so they've got Chiefs 1, appropriately Eagles 2, Bengals 3, Poisal.
Poisel.
No, I just like
Pete Rose.
I get so used to.
I
people
just
saying
stuck it to you a little bit because of the Bengals thing. I went with you to the Bengals. Better or worse than number 3?
I could see an argument where the Niners are above them here, but
Of course you could.
I'll still stick them at number 3. It's so close between them, the Niners, that you could even still with the Chiefs. Like these top 4 teams were all still so razor thin close this year. 3, sure, I'll take it.
Mr. Zagura?
It's a game I would have loved to have seen. I'd have loved to have seen the Niners Bengals. So I would have loved to see them in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time. It would have been great. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Right now, the Niners would have to be below the Bengals because they don't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Literally.
They literally do not have one.
No.
No.
So they would be lower. And I think what they're saying is they made the Final Four. They're 4th out of the Final Four because of the fact they don't have a quarterback right now.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with.
Next.
Higher or lower?
The Cleveland Browns come in at number 21, Zagura. Better or worse than number 21 for your Cleveland Browns?
I think we're better than the Rams right now. We beat the Carolina Panthers. I think we're better than them. So I think we are better than that, but you got to prove it. You got to show me. You got to get it done. And the Browns we did not, 7-10, but next year should be a new year. And what I think is exciting about next year is that we should be loaded up. We'll have the best quarterback that we've had this will be my 11th season. That'll be the best quarterback by far that we've had in 11 seasons.
Yeah.
And we will come into it with no expectations whatsoever. There will be nobody outside of this building giving us any credit or thinking anything about us. And I feel like that probably is for the best. The last time we had success was 2020. Nobody was giving us any credit coming off of a disastrous 2019. So perhaps that's what you needed.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised the Rams are in front of him on this list if we're talking about the scope of how each team did this year. 7-10 versus 5-12. The Browns should be in front of the Rams.
By the way, and I'd buy Brown stock way before I buy any Ram stock.
Yeah,
the Rams' path to being competitive is much more convoluted and difficult than us.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden,
Older players, way less cap space.
the NFC West is going to be a two-horse race between the Niners and the Seahawks.
And it's really, if both of them, do the Seahawks love Geno?
Yeah.
And can he run it back? And who do the Niners go with?
Right.
They have everything else. Like if you're Derek Carr, would that?
What, the Niners?
Yeah.
The only guy that might go to the Niners would be Rodgers. That would be interesting.
So do you guys think the Niners are going to add a quarterback no matter what?
No.
No, I don't. Not
No.
necessarily. I think they
I
like
just think
Purdy,
that's
and
a
I think they like
possibility.
Lance.
Yeah,
and I just think if you're Kyle and you have a football Ferrari without a driver, and there's a sure thing out there, like Rodgers would be defined as a sure thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That would have to be like, how would that trade even work?
I don't even know if they have the money to do it. They obviously Lance would have to go,
Yeah.
but they have Love, so they would be trading.
And do they even like Lance?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's what makes that so tricky. The Cowboys. Oh, next,
Higher or lower?
Dallas Cowboys are 6 AP. Better or worse than 6 for Big D?
I still think this is just right because when I look at the teams ahead of them, I would not pick the Cowboys to beat the Bills, Niners, Bengals, all those teams we just mentioned. And then when I look at teams behind them, Jags, like the one team maybe I would put ahead of them is the Chargers because I think injuries. We've talked about every time we talk about the Chargers, right? That's what cost them the most this year. I think.
We're seduced by their talent.
What's that?
The Chargers were
Yeah.
seduced by the talent.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They haven't been.
They've
They
been a
don't
team
play
that's
to
been
their
better on
talent.
paper all
No.
year. Yeah.
They
So
don't play to their talent. They
I just don't
haven't
think
for 2
that.
years.
I don't know. Dallas Schmalice. I just think they.
yeah. I mean, they're not.
Here's the thing that's difficult about
Like
this.
I'd be floored if they won the Super Bowl next year. Absolutely floored.
Yeah.
I
Right.
would. I
I'm
wouldn't
not
be
saying
as
they're
floored if
Super
the
Bowl,
Chargers
yeah.
did. I'd be like, oh, they actually stayed healthy and got it together.
I think if you want to play that game, I'd be more floored for Dallas winning than, I don't know, maybe even Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I think they're fine at 6, but it's close between the Jags and Chargers still. They're much closer to the Jags and Chargers than they are the Bills and the Niners, 2 teams ahead of them.
Next.
Higher or lower?
Man.
I love it. I love this.
Leo's number 9. Zagura.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I think that they should be atop the NFC North. I think they are fun. They've got 2 first-round picks, including 6 overall. Goff has played very, very well. They get Jamison Williams now for the season. They didn't really have him. I think every time he touched the ball it was a touchdown last year, and he had
Felt
one
like
that
it.
was wiped off the board. I like that team a lot. I like them a lot. They are fun. I'd run them back on Hard Knocks, frankly. I don't know if you're going to get any better than Dan
jeez.
Campbell. Like, just give it to me.
Yeah.
And just go on with it. I like the Lions. I think they do feel like a top 10 team right now. They do. They're going to be loaded on offense, and they have an opportunity to continue to add to that defense. Hutchinson was a great pick.
Yeah.
They look great.
Yeah. If their season started in week 8, they would have finished the year 8-2.
Yeah.
So I agree. I thought it was just fine here. At first when I saw it, I was like, okay, I know the Lions had a good year, but top 10 really? And then you look at how they finished the year, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I don't think you can argue against that.
The way that they beat Green Bay when they had nothing to play
Yeah.
for out of spite.
It was crazy.
Well,
You
that's
give
how
me
they.
spite. I
even
love
the Packers
spite.
too at
Yeah,
the end of the
you
year.
Get
like-
enough of spite. Like
Yeah.
you got
You-
spite. Come on.
I feel like you'd open up a spite store.
Oh, I'd open a spite store tomorrow. I'd open a spite store.
Yeah,
Are you
you would.
kidding me? And they have 2 first-round picks,
That's right.
yeah.
their own and the Rams.
Including 6.
Yeah.
Yes, 6 overall.
So they're picking 6 overall plus their own
And
pick.
The likelihood is that 2 quarterbacks will go before they even pick. So
Correct.
they're going to get one of the 4 best
They'll get one of the 4 best players.
non-quarterbacks in the game.
And good for
And 2
Jared Goff.
defensive
Yeah.
linemen.
I
are
love
gonna
Jared
go.
Goff. I agree.
So it's going to be 2 D linemen and 2 quarterbacks in the first 4.
Yeah. By the way, now it's clear like Goff was the right pick over Wentz, right? At this point of their
Clearly.
careers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
Not
took
even-
a minute,
yeah.
but it all worked for you on
Yeah.
that one.
I
You
was
were
fine
on
with
the-
it.
you
I
were
never
good?
wavered.
You even when Wentz that year when he was headed for like MVP,
That was a bump.
still felt good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Listen, I got
Nice.
to be in the crowd in our nation's capital, actually just outside of our nation's capital, when they were booing him like the Jets fans were booing Zach Wilson from that Thursday.
Oh, it was
night
like
against
3
Jackson.
passes in.
It was
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to throw the ball to us
Right. Right.
3 times.
3 times. Next.
Higher or lower?
Coming in at number 13, AP, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 13. Better or worse?
Yeah. Similar to the Lions, I also thought they should be worse than this at first, but I also just still look at the way that they finished the year and see that the 2 other teams behind them on this list, the Giants and the Dolphins, I think I'm okay with them at 13. But once you start getting, like when I was looking at this list, once you start getting to 13 through the rest of it, it just gets a little murky. But because of the way that they finished the year, because of how good their defense played, and because of how Kenny Pickett started to just play better football, I think I'm okay with them at 13.
I think the Dolphins, if they have a quarterback, are way better than the Steelers. I think the
Agreed.
Jets, if they get a quarterback, are going to be way better than the
Agreed.
Steelers.
But they don't have that right now. Those are the two
No.
biggest questions with those two
Yeah.
teams. The Steelers.
I'm not sure the Steelers have a quarterback,
Right,
to be perfectly honest with you.
But their quarterback still played better than.
I mean, the Giants took it to the Vikings in the play. I'd put the Giants
We have to
ahead of
assume
them.
at some point, too, is out of concussion protocol, right?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Is
How
he
can
out?
you ever...
Yeah.
Is he out finally?
I think he's out, and they said that he's going to keep playing. But like, still, how do you know for certain that he's going to play next year until he actually plays?
Yeah.
And then still, even if he does play,
What is
you have the
what does it
problem.
look
You have the
like?
concern of
Yeah.
does he get a concussion?
Why are
again?
all the
Something-
places that Rodgers could go and make him a Super Bowl contender right away in the AFC?
Except for the Niners. We can hope
That's
for that.
it. That's it.
And at the
Everything
I don't
beginning
know
else-
of the
why.
year, we were talking about how the AFC teams are all better than NFC, have better quarterbacks. than
Well, they
NFC,
do. They
and-
still do. But it's like you want to add him. You add him to New York or Miami, and Tua was great. He unfortunately the poor dude
Right.
can't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You put Rodgers on either one of those teams, and they
Oh yeah,
vault.
probably maybe top 6, top 5 team. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Miami for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And the Jets.
Jets aren't far off.
Jets are loaded.
They are. They are.
Him with
Next.
Garrett Wilson.
Higher or lower?
All right, let's go all the way to the bottom. I don't even know who's dead last. Let's
Colts.
see who's dead last. Indianapolis Colts, 32.
I don't know how they're...
Higher or lower? Better or worse? Are they better than 32? Who should be worst on this?
I put the
Arizona.
Texans, and yeah.
I put
I
Arizona.
think Arizona might have the toughest mountain to climb. Chicago's mountain, if they love Fields, they got $100 million in cap space. They're gonna have a ton of picks. Houston's gonna pick second. They can flip it around. The Colts are gonna pick first or fourth. They can flip it around.
When do the Cardinals even pick?
Do they even own their pick, or does Houston have it from? Is there something? Do they even own their pick?
The
Arizona.
Cardinals are number 3.
They have the third pick.
They're third.
Oh, they're third.
They're not picking a quarterback.
No, so they'll take one of the D linemen, either Carter
Yeah.
or Smith.
Yeah, especially with Gannon there.
Yeah.
They don't feel good to me at all.
No, they don't. What was your favorite commercial before we get you out of here?
Caddyshack.
So good.
You know,
I
it's-
don't even
I
know if
don't even
Caddyshack
know-
matters to him though. The
No.
nostalgia of
Okay,
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack is definitely up there. I haven't really got to be completely honest. I have not thought of what my favorite commercial was because I thought a lot of them were lame. I didn't like.
Sad.
I'm sorry. I will say I
What
thought.
didn't you like then? What was the lamest?
Um,
Like which one you watch here? It's like
Such a cynical generation.
the youth.
I'm so sorry. I have like some of the commercials I've just flushed my head. I would love to pick. I don't want to say one and then be like, oh, there's one that's way lamer. And
What's one that
I'm
struck
sorry,
you
it
as lame?
I'm just blanking on all the commercials right now. I'm so
Sad.
sorry.
Sad.
It's because
Yeah.
I
Gave you a forum.
I know
Same.
I know and I apologize.
Marketing agencies around the world were tuned in.
That's
to hear
just
it.
They were ready.
But that's
They were
just how
ready.
I felt about the commercials.
Because
I was
we're
like,
older.
they
We're
just-
older. We're on the older side. They're looking for
Skewed
your
out.
demographic. Yeah.
We skewed out.
And
All right. Good job out of
take
you.
them in.
Yeah, except for the commercials, but yeah.
Other than that, so much more to come. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Did the Steelers today. We'll go through 31 more teams. Well, 30 because we are us.
Yeah.
So 30 more teams as we go through it. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to just add in there, courtesy of our good friend Albright, Vic Fangio was actually, in his 2-week consultancy, was not consulting the defense. He was consulting the offense for what he did when he was with Denver. He was helping consult the offense for how to attack the Chiefs somehow, but he was not working with the defense. Albright was very clear to point that out.
I'm sure he was.
Working with the defense or clear to point that out?
Both.
I would imagine you would bring him in.
Why would you bring in a defensive guy to help you with your offense?
To try to explain, I guess, what the Chiefs were doing. Maybe they run a Fangio-ish defense.
30.
Doesn't pass the sniff test, brother.
I don't know. I'm just telling you. That
I
was what he
agree.
said.
But, I mean, it's a little hanky.
Even when I said it out loud, it didn't make sense.
Didn't make sense. The next level's coming up.